Hello everyone, welcome back to another episode of r/PettyRevenge. In today's episode, badmouth me and assume I don't speak the language? I'll kill you with kindness. My parents confronted a litter bug. Embarrassed my annoying manager. Before we get started, make sure to subscribe so you will never miss a video. So let's get started. Badmouth me and assume I don't speak the language? I'll kill you with kindness. I am a light-skinned Latina American and I lived in Korea for a couple of years during university and grad school, as my major was Korean interpretation and translation. During my time in Korea, I was lucky enough to attend music shows from time to time. For the K-pop uninitiated, music shows are free to enter, provided you have at least one of three items: A. A copy of the album of the group you're coming to see, B. Proof of purchase of the album digitally on one of the approved music vendors in Korea, or C. The official lightstick from the most recent concert. Priority entry was always given to official fan club members who had all three, then fan club members who had two of the three, and then fan club members who had one. After that came non-members in the same priority tier. The group I had come to see hadn't opened official fan club registration in almost a decade, so the group's management decided to do away with the fan club priority and did it on a first-come, first-served basis, but kept the whole three items go first, then two, then one thing. I had all three, and I got there early, so I got a good spot in line. These queues often had us waiting outside for hours while the previous round of filming finished up. The thing about these music show venues is, they're very small. They have limited capacity and allow 2 to 3 groups fans in to watch them film at a time, so not all people who queue for a group get in. In this particular instance, there was trouble with foreign fans causing trouble by taking pictures, not listening to instructions, so venue staff literally went through and quizzed each foreigner in line on their Korean. If you couldn't understand, you were booted. I passed with flying colors and kept my spot in line. Here's where the revenge starts. Because of the aforementioned issues, a lot of Korean fans hated international fans with a passion. For this group in particular, so many people were pissed that they had to wait in line behind foreigners because they'd done away with the official fan club priority. Now here's me, sitting alone in a queue outside on a hot summer day. A group of Korean girls sat in front of me, and a lone Korean girl talking on her phone sat behind me. I was minding my own business playing games on my phone after passing my Korean quiz with the staff, when I heard the girl behind me talking shit. She was chatting with a friend, I suspect, because she was dropping a lot of curse words, and specifically mentioned these foreign roaches ruining things for us. I want to kill them. She mentioned me in particular and said that she bet I'd bribed the staff to keep my spot in line even though I couldn't understand Korean. Okay, so it's harmless shit talk. I don't know this girl and I don't know her friend. In the long run, it doesn't affect me, right? But it really rubbed me the wrong way, especially because she was talking quite loudly. So I grabbed my wallet, politely and quietly asked the Korean girls in front of me to watch my bag and hold my place in line, and went to the convenience store. I bought a round of water for everyone. It was heavy. I had about a dozen bottles of water. I get back to my spot in line, thanked the girls in front of me for holding my spot, then gave them each a water. I gave a water to the group in front of them, too. Then I kept one for myself and turned around and handed one to the girl on the phone with a smile. Immediately she lit up and thanked me in English, smiling bright and taking her phone away from her ear. As I hand her water, I say in perfect Korean and still smiling, "The next time you loudly shit talk the foreigners, make sure they can't actually understand you." When I tell you it went silent in the immediate area, you could hear a pin drop. Her smile melted off her face faster than an ice cream cone on Florida pavement. She turned beet red and muttered to her friend on the phone that she had to go and sheepishly apologized. I accepted, she had water, and I felt better about myself. Bonus, the girls in front of me heard the whole thing and adopted me into their group for the day. Fun was had all around. Now this. This is how to do it. Tell to their face while giving them something that brings life. Not a thing she could say or do besides apologize and try to be less shitty in the future.
October 10th, would read again. Agreed. No one can complain about anything OP did. This is the most beautiful revenge I've ever read.
I hope you share more stories about your time in Korea. This one was awesome. I found the part about item ownership as currency for entrance particularly interesting. I was a Peace Corps volunteer in Guatemala. One popular, and probably apocryphal, story told was about never assuming no one spoke English. Two tall volunteers were standing in the central aisle of a particularly crowded bus on a hot and stinky day. One said to the other, "It smells in here." A little Guatemalan woman, standing under their armpits, responded, "You should smell it down here." I also live in Korea, since 2015. One day I was out for a walk and while waiting at a crossing, a girl and her friend/boyfriend waited there as well. I'm tall, a 175 centimeters tall Nordic girl. The girl said to her F/BF, "It must be absolutely horrible to be so tall for a girl. I would never want to be that. She looks like a man or almost like a monster." Before the light turned green, "There's a countdown." I said something along the lines, "I might be tall, I can't change that."
Hopefully you can change your shitty personality.
They stared at me in horror and apologized and pretty much ran across the street.
Korean here.
Xenophobia is probably one of the worst parts of modern Korean culture. I got lots of unsolicited comments when I was showing my American friend around. I'm sorry you had this experience, and I'm really glad that you put them in their place.
Most of East Asia is like this, unfortunately.
Then again, I lived in China for a few years, and in a big city like Shanghai, I knew a lot of foreigners who lived there for years and never learned more than the absolute basics of Mandarin.
My parents confronted a litter bug.
So my parents were sitting at a red light when the car in front of them opened the window and dumped a bunch of trash into the street. My mom was pissed. She got out of the car and confronted the woman, picked up the trash and said, "Hey, you dropped this." The woman started screeching, "I don't want that shit in my car." My mom replied, "So go find a trash can," and dumped the trash back through the open window. The woman was screaming and cussing, calling my mom a ficking b***, among other colorful phrases, and continued dumping her trash all over the street. At this point my dad got involved. He's a busybody and he despises litter. He noticed that among the dumped items were several half-melted ice cream bars. He grabbed them and smeared them all over her windshield, made a big sticky brown smear right across the driver's side windshield. At that point, they noted the car's make and model and wrote down the license plate number, already calling the police. The woman sat through the light, probably trying to clear off her windshield, backed up her car, wiggled around a bit and took off like a bat out of hell when the light turned green again. Listening to my parents recount this tale, pleased as punch with themselves, I was, yes, proud that my parents feel this strongly about littering, but also aghast.
Mom.
My eyes were big as dinner plates.
What if she had had a gun?
My mom stopped.
Oh.
Maybe I should invest in one of those cute tasers I got you guys for Christmas a few years ago, she pondered.
Yes, Mom, invest in a taser. But also maybe just call the cops next time? I went boating with some friends earlier this summer. We were at a semi-crowded sandbar next to a rowdy family and watched the kids throw a can into the water. The can just sat there floating for about 10 minutes and my boyfriend knew I was pissed about it, so he floated over to the can and then silently walked it to their boat and with full eye contact put it in their boat and then silently floated away. It made me fall in love with him all over again. I platonically love your boyfriend.
LOL, your mom talking about a taser, but also, very legit concern of someone having a gun. People who litter are a shit kind of breed and probably also would feel no remorse shooting someone for confronting them about their littering tendencies.
Only in America, I guess?
Never have I ever heard it so common. It could have been a gun or some variations of it elsewhere.
Yup.
Sadly, the gun fear is ever present in literally every single US state. We live in a blue, liberal state with strict, gun laws. I got really mad when a family on a park bench near the mine dropped all their rubbish on the grass even though there was a bin 6 feet away. Wet wipes, crisp packets, fruit peel and cans. Eventually, when the fat slob of a father downed his fizzy drink, belched and then dropped the can, I flipped. I told him that he had dropped something, to which he replied that it was empty. I suggested putting it in the bin and pointed to it. He made a move towards me and I then realized that maybe I had made a mistake. Fortunately, he bent down and picked up the can and then put it in the bin, so I avoided the pummeling I expected. I felt very good about it though. It's always fascinating from someone living somewhere else that every confrontation in America can be a possible death sentence. People die in road rage incidents all the time. My parents constantly tell me, please don't honk at people for any reason, let them be. Embarrassed my annoying manager. When I was 18, I worked in a fairly nice restaurant in a hotel. One of my managers was annoying. He was constantly nitpicking and just an obnoxious person overall. He had a habit of posting little signs in the kitchen or the sit workstation with reminders of what we needed to be doing. Unfortunately, he couldn't spell for crap and his notes were occasionally grammatically incorrect. I recall seeing one sign in the kitchen reminding the kitchen staff something about the grease. I was 18 and found his signs both appalling and funny. Then he pissed me off. I don't remember what it was he did or said, but I remember my anger. So I brought in my red pen and proceeded to correct all of the spelling and grammatical errors on his stupid signs. I gave him a D-. I walked by later and saw that one of my coworkers changed the grade to an F. I didn't see annoying manager's initial reaction, but I did see him stomping around later, ripping down all the signs. Good times. You should have handed him a report card when you left with all Fs. The educated grammar police for the win over management. Bravo! My boss sometimes enters the work chat instead of addressing the social media manager personally to make corrections on grammar, spelling, and inclusion of certain elements in posts. Usually, these messages of his are also riddled with errors in spelling and grammar themselves. I've been tempted to call him out on that, but I'm afraid my work might get micromanaged as a result. Spelling mistakes draw your attention to the message beyond a cursory glance. He shouldn't be a manager if he can't spell. Ignorance should never be rewarded. I started taking a red pen to memos from the property manager at an old apartment. Their website also mentioned them following all laws and statutes. If you made it to the end of the video, thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe and share, and we will see you in the next video.